As the first irrepressible grief over Antony's death subsided, the friars agreed to keep the saint's death a secret to avoid the hastily rushing crowds. However, there was another reason for keeping the fact a secret. Antony had asked to be buried in the little church of Santa Maria in Padua, while surely the inhabitants of the Capodimonte neighborhood, of which Arcella was a part, would have wanted his body to be buried there. However, something totally unexpected happened that messed everything up.
I was in the kitchen with my daughter Gemma, who was playing with one of her little friends. Suddenly, Gemma began to say, "He's dead!" At first, I didn't pay attention to it. I thought it was part of their game. Then her little friend began to cry, but to cry desperately. I thought she was hurt badly, so I ran to them. I found them both in tears and asked them, "What happened? What's wrong with you girls?" Gemma looked at me and said, "The Holy Father is dead. Sant'Antonio is dead." Before long, this same phrase was being heard shouted by many children all over the streets of the city. No one could ever tell me who had informed them. How did they learn of Sant'Antonio's death?
A stream of people began to rush toward the friary of Arcella. The friars, surprised to see that the news of Antony's death had now spread throughout the city, asked willing men to guard the friary to prevent the crowd from disturbing the sacredness of that moment. This was an operation that proved quite difficult, also because the crowd was growing larger and larger. The following morning, the friars of Santa Maria also arrived with the intention of transporting the saint's body to their friary. In fact, they were far from thinking that Antony's wish to be buried in the little church of Santa Maria would be disputed against them. However, the Arcella residents continued to say, "Here he died and here he has to stay." Before long, a conflict broke out between the villagers and the residents of Padua, a conflict that could easily have turned into civil war. For a few days, the Arcella residents, held the ground. Then the dispute was brought before the Father Provincial, the Bishop, and the Podestà. In the end, reason prevailed. On Tuesday, June the 17th, 1231, the Bishop, with all the clergy, friars, and civil authorities, followed by a huge crowd, started a large procession that carried the body of Sant'Antonio throughout the city and which was finally buried in the church of Santa Maria. Now, the little church of Santa Maria has become part of the Basilica of Sant'Antonio and is now known as the Chapel of the Madonna Mora because of the beautiful statue of the Virgin and Child Jesus. So it was here that St. Anthony had his first burial, and it was here that hundreds of devotees began to flock daily from the day of his funeral, asking for graces and miracles, as the anonymous Franciscan who wrote the first biography of St. Anthony tells us.
On that same day, very many people, suffering from various infirmities, were carried to the saint's tomb, and immediately, through the merits of blessed Anthony, they were cured and restored to their original health. For as soon as a sick person succeeded in touching the ark, immediately cast off, he rejoiced in feeling free from all illness. And those who, because of the great number of the sick who had arrived, could not remain before the ark, lying outside the entrance of the church, recovered in the square, under the eyes of all.
To this blessed tomb, devotees from all over the world still come with great faith. Therefore, once again, and on behalf of all of you, I want to pray. Dear Saint Anthony, worker of miracles and protector of the needy, we address this humble prayer to you to implore your intercession that we may obtain help in our afflictions and difficulties. Amen.